Welcome to Equine Digestion and Physiology, Part 3. The small intestine is named in reference to the fact that the intestinal diameter is small compared to the large intestine. It is about 20 metres long, narrow in diameter, and has an average volumetric capacity of about 50 litres, relating to a 500 kilo horse. Food moves through here fairly quickly, on average clearing the small intestine in 3 to 4 hours, so digestion needs to occur rapidly, or it will pass on to the large intestine undigested. The small intestine is where most nutrients are digested and absorbed, so it is a significant site of chemical digestion. The stomach has a limited ability to digest starch, lacking the presence of amylase, and relying solely on the fermentative processes of microbes present in the fundus region. Therefore, much starch passes undigested into the small intestine. Here, starch is digested by amylase secreted into the small intestine via the pancreatic ducts. However, while this process can be very efficient, resulting in up to 90% of starch digested, the amount of amylase available is small, which is one of many limiting factors on how much starch is digested and absorbed. Taking a closer look at starch, it is a variation of a chain of glucose molecules, a type of sugar, making it about 3 times more resistant to digestion than ordinary sugars. This again limits the amount of starch digested and absorbed in the small intestine, increasing the risk of a starch overload in the large intestine if the horse is fed too much grain or grain-based feeds. This may increase the risk of causing conditions such as colic and laminitis if too much undigested starch passes into the large intestine, overloading it. When talking about equine nutrition, it is important to note these factors limit the horse's ability to digest and absorb starch in the small intestine. Looking at the small intestine, it is broken up into 3 main parts. The duodenum, illustrated in yellow, which is closest to the stomach. The jejunum, illustrated in red, followed by the ileum, illustrated in red-orange. As you can see, the duodenum is the part at the end of the stomach, leading into the jejunum. It is only a very small section, about 1 metre long. It is primarily designed to increase the pH of the feed content. The feed at this point no longer looks anything like what was given to the horse. It is now in a semi-digested state after leaving the stomach, called chyme. The normal pH of the jejunum is around 7 to 7.4. Remembering the stomach has a pH of 2, a significant increase in pH has to occur in this short section of the small intestine, from 2 to 7. This happens through large quantities of bicarbonates being pumped into the duodenum from the pancreas via 2 pancreatic ducts. The jejunum is the next section of the small intestine, and it specializes in absorbing carbohydrates and proteins. It has a considerable amount of villi and microvilli brush borders. Villi secrete enzymes into the small intestine, digesting the feed. They are also the point where the digested nutrients are absorbed into the body for use. These villi are microscopic in size, and they look like tiny fingers poking out of the wall of the body of the intestine. The jejunum is a much larger section, about 18 to 20 metres long. It is here where much of the nutrients are digested and absorbed, so the chyme needs to stay in here for as long as possible to allow time for digestion and absorption to occur. Chyme passes through this section at an average rate of about 30 centimetres per minute. At the end of that section you have the ileum, which is the last section of the small intestine. It is about 1.5 metres in length, with a small amount of absorption occurring here. The small intestine has 4 main functions. Firstly, it is involved in both chemical and physical digestion of the different components of the feed, carbohydrates, proteins and fats, through the secretion of enzymes and physically through the constant mixing of the feed particles in the small intestine. This mixing causes the particles to collide and rub against each other, breaking down into smaller, more digestible units. Secondly, it is a point of absorption for vitamins, minerals, and bile salts, which are recycled to be reused in buffering against the acidic chyme leaving the stomach. Thirdly, electrolytes of sodium, chloride, potassium, and water are being secreted into the digestive tract to assist in the digestion of the nutrients and their transport into the body. Lastly, the small intestine mixes together all the nutrients from the feed along with digestive enzymes and the microbes residing in the small intestine, all of which are designed to improve digestion and absorption. The small intestine pushes the mixed and digesting nutrients along the digestive tract towards the large intestine through continuous peristaltic waves of muscle contractions and relaxations. Today, our key take-home points for this YouTube clip are: most nutrients are digested and absorbed in the small intestine. The small intestine has a limited ability to digest and absorb starch. There are three main parts to the small intestine: the duodenum, jejunum, and the ileum. The small intestine has four main functions: chemical and physical digestion, absorption, secretion, mixing and movement. Thank you for watching Equine Digestion and Physiology Part 3. If you like what you saw, please give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Connect to our website, our EqNC Facebook page and Instagram, so as not to miss the next chapter in this series.